when you think about the fact that he was on the Ed Sullivan Show, and he was on Jackie Gleason, and he was on Letterman later on, and then Teresa Brewer, she sings, she
Oh,
sings a
yes.
song that's a top hit in the country.
I
When
love
they're
Mickey.
making, they're making songs up after you. This is what Legends is made of. I love Mickey. But David, you remember that song that I'm alluding to?
Pretty much, I remember, but I love Mickey. Mickey who, and he'd go, you know who, and then she'd go, the man with that celebrated swing.
That one went pretty high up in the charts. No.
It did.
We have a
And then,
go.
I was going to mention something else that Mom said one time. She goes, Dad just looked baseball. And I think she's right. When you think about, you see pictures, or even if it's a still, or if you see like the slow motions where he's at batting practice or whatever, and the camera would come in on Dad, he just had that look. He was just baseball.
Yeah, and it was such a combination of, here's this guy hitting 500, 600-foot home runs, and yet there's a childlike charm to him where it just, you could understand why Madison Avenue loved him, Danny, when he says, I want my Mapo, or whatever, whatever. How many different endorsements did he have? But universal appeal.
Well, here's a funny stat. I don't know if you know this or not, but Billy Crystal pointed this out to us. He had a commercial for smoking and not smoking at the same time.
Well, to use a baseball analogy, that's covering all your bases, I guess.
It is.
But as we said, I mean, all of the endorsements, all of the, we mentioned before, his name is mentioned in movies and things of that nature. When you consider Vitalis and Hager Slacks, and you go on and on and on, everybody wanted Mickey Mantle to lend his name to their product. Switching gears a little bit, David, this is something that I know is near and dear to your heart and your brother's. The time you spent away from the ballpark, the time you spent with your dad. He was an outdoorsman. He loved to fish. He loved to play golf. He loved to just, hang out in a boat and just, have a few laughs, hunting. Tell us about that side of your dad.
Well, one story that I was just thinking of, it's we were at spring training, and we were staying at the Gulf Ocean Mile then. And he took me, Danny, and Billy down to the intercoastal, because we were only about a block or so away, the Gulf Ocean Mile was. So Dad, he had this little portable radio, and we were down there, and we're just, fiddling around, just watching Dad fish, and he's having a great time fishing. He's got 3 of his sons with him. But I remember the song that came on the radio was On the Dock of the Bay by Otis Redding. I have never forgot that moment, and that song has stuck with me forever.
And it started with the whistle.
Yep, sitting on the dock of the bay.
That song by Otis Redding was very powerful, because that song came out after he had passed away, Otis Redding. Yep. So it was really one of those songs that really, grips you. So yep. I could certainly understand that. A lot of things with your dad, there's like recurring themes. And one of the recurring themes was he was kind of hard on himself, because I wasn't good enough dad. I wasn't like the dad, as good a dad as my father. But, you mentioned something to me, privately, where kids in the neighborhood saying to you, hey, your dad taught me how to fish. Your dad, all of that. Tell us about that if you can.
Dad was the only one who thought he was a bad dad. His sons, all of us loved him, and we cherished, when he came home, and we realized, the last thing he wanted to do was probably play baseball. So we had tons of neighborhood football games in our backyard, because it was a great size yard, perfect for football. And Dad loved it because, he was the designated quarterback for both sides. And so he just had a great time doing that. But, I had several friends that I grew up with that we've been talking about, because they'll see some articles that say, that Mickey Mantle was not a good dad or not a good husband and this and that. And he's like, I read those, And I would love to tell people so bad that, you know, look, this man, I didn't have a dad growing up. You know, this guy took me out, showed us all how to fish. You know, we used to shoot clay pigeons together, you know, with shotgun, you know, just practicing guns and all that. And, you know, he did a lot for the kids around there. And I had forgotten about that, which I appreciated hearing that. I was like, man, thank you. Because I had forgotten that we used to do all that. And, you know, it was fun to hear that, you know, and I wish my dad could have heard it.